it's time for the boil. So at this point in the brewing process, you already have a kettle full of wort ready to boil, whether it came from all grain brewing or extract brewing. The point now is to get it to a rolling boil for at least an hour. Some people boil it for an hour and a half. I split the difference, you know, it's 75 minutes usually. It just depends on what you're trying to do with the beer. But while it boils, we add hops and some other things along the way, so check this out.
All right, there we go. It's at a boil now, you can see. And I usually boil my beers for about 75 minutes. And I usually don't start adding hops until about the 60-minute mark, which is 15 minutes from now. And it's just how I do it. So, but that's what a full rolling boil looks like. So when you add hops in, you just dump them in, just like that. And oh, that smells really good. Oh, and you stir them in, get them all nice and soggy, and let them stay in the boil per your recipe's recommendations.
You know, here are hops. This is what whole leaf hops look like in a bag. This is 1 ounce of hops, and you know, it's just actual hop flowers that have been dried, and these go into the beer at regular intervals per your recipe.
See now you can see the hops spinning around in there now, bubbling around. So it's going quite nicely. You know, and that aroma smells really good. About 15 minutes before you're done boiling, you take your immersion chiller and you want to sanitize it. The best way to do that is to put it right inside the pot 15 minutes before the end of the boil. And it will sanitize itself, just like that. So there you go. Another thing you want to do is throw in a Whirlfloc tablet or some Irish moss or one of those other products to help precipitate the proteins out of solution. It gives you a nice, cleaner, clearer beer. Now, you generally want to add some flavor hops. Previously it was bittering hops. This portion is going to be for flavor. Toss those in there and stir it in. Make sure they get all saturated and sink down in there and boil around. Alright, I am done with the boil. So what I got to do now is turn off the flame. There we go. I'm going to add one final dose of Aroma Hops. Stir those in really quick. Here. There we go. Get them all wet and saturated. Stir them around in there. Then I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on this thing. And I'm going to turn on my hose and set my immersion chiller to work to chill this wort down to below 80 degrees. Now with the wort cooled down to about 80 degrees now, it's still cooling in the background here. I'm not quite ready to turn off the water yet, but another thing to do is to check your original post-boil gravity. So I'm going to take off the lid, get my little wine thief here, fill it up a couple times. Now you have to be careful here because now the wort is below the temperature where germs will now take over now, so you gotta be careful. You gotta sanitize everything. This wine thief is sanitized as well as the flask here. So I'm gonna get a couple samples out of here, enough to do a hydrometer reading. There we go. I think that's enough. Okay. And also while I'm at it, I'm going to check the post-boil volume, which I have a stick for. This is my measuring stick I talked about before. So I'm going to poke that right up in there. And it is right about 5.75 gallons. So I'm going to record these values in my spreadsheet and see what comes from that. I got to calculate my brew house efficiency, my evaporation rate, and eventually my alcohol content. Well, I got this temperature down to about 85 degrees after about a half hour. It's about as low as it's going to get in this summer weather. So I'm going to just have to stop it now and transfer it to my carboy. But before I do that, I got to take out the chiller. Now at this point you want to be really careful about sanitation. Okay? So you don't want to cough, sneeze, get bugs in here. One thing I am going to do though, to help siphoning to be a little bit better, is I'm going to give this thing a swirl. And stir it. Slow it first. You want what's called whirlpooling in order to get all the gunk to collect in the center of the vessel. There we go. I'm going to let that spin around, settle for a good while, and then I'm going to rack it to my fermenter. Now at this point I raise the kettle at a higher height than my fermenter, my carboy, for gravity to help my siphon drain my kettle into the carboy. So let me get that started. Take off the cap there, take off this lid here, and hoses, make sure they drain really well. There we go. Get all the sanitizer out of there. Alright, so now this side goes into the kettle. This side goes right down into the fermenter. Okay? And this auto siphon is really great. I highly recommend getting one because all you gotta do is give it a pump, a pull, and a pump. And off it goes. Just like that. Beautiful. Beautiful.
So there's the auto siphon going to work down to my carboy. Oop, there you go. And there it is filling up now. So hopefully I'll get from the kettle probably about ideally 5 1/4 gallons. So we'll see. Alright, I chilled my post-boil sample down to 60 degrees. That is calibrated for the hydrometer at 60 degrees, so everything reads accurate. I'm going to pop this in here, give it a spin. Let's see. Okay, keep coming, keep coming. 1.05, 1.052. Okay. To continue watching the next video in my Homebrewing Basics series, click on the link provided and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.